Hello, welcome to this module. In here, we have a new knowledge graph. And that knowledge graph is based on one wide table. As you can see right here, it is an e-commerce standard superstore dataset. One wide table, but it has two questions that you always need to take into account. First is, what are your business concepts? You already know that a business concept does not translate to a physical table in the database. So here we have one physical table, one white table in the database, but multiple business concepts. Let's open up the knowledge graph. We could see things like customer being its own business concepts, for example. An order could be its own business concept. And this is something that you need to figure out based on what is one individual row within my dataset. So let's ask for that. How many orders do we have? 5,111. Let's ask a slightly different question. How many sample superstore orders? 10,000. These questions were quite similar, like little words changing, but the number is vastly different. So when you go with the one into any meeting claiming that this is the amount of orders we're having, you are reporting the wrong number. Why is that? Let's look beyond. The sample superstore orders actually counting the concept sample superstore orders. That is moving into Veezoo Studio, here our top level class. So it's counting every row because our SQL here is on row ID. So that is basically every row within our dataset. Whereas the first question is counting the concept orders. Let's go into Visual Studio, find orders over here, and it's counting the unique order IDs. There is a huge difference in both because our dataset, each and every line is one line item within an order. And we need to make sure that Veezoo understands that, but also that there is no ambiguity when people are asking for orders. So what we can do in the knowledge graph is actually changing how our top level class is called. So instead of sample superstore, that could be line item with a name, line item. The table and the physical table in the database, that is still the same name. We are saving that. And we are introduced with loads of entities that we need to sync because now they are called differently. So it's not KB Superstore or Sample Superstore anymore, Sample Superstore orders, but kb.lineItem and then the respective name. So let's just synchronize all of them and then delete the others. Coming back to Veezoo, refresh. How many sample superstore orders? We are presented with number of orders because the order name, the order value, the entity is now the only one that gets referenced. But an order being a different business concept than the line item. So what we could do is promote the order class to a first class citizen. So we cut it out of here and actually put it on the same level as our line items. When I just hit save here, again, it will on the one side tell me that the line item order has no entities anymore. So we can delete them, and the higher business concept, the higher class, KB order, wants to have its entities, so basically syncing all the unique values from the database into Veezoo so they can be indexed, and then they can have auto-completion when we are asking a question. Coming back to Veezoo, refresh, and we now look at the knowledge graph. You will see that there is a line item and an order table. And we can flesh these out because these higher business concepts, they are not they don't supposed to be just tables or names. They will have their own attributes and their own measures and their own subclasses. So for example, an order has an order date. So therefore, that is not on a line item, that is on the order below here. So therefore, let's put it in here. And then we're going to go to Visual Studio, refresh. You see that now the order date lives below the order. So what we could ask now is sales by order date last month. So what I want is all of the sales that we did or that was ordered last month. But what you can see is that there is no linking connection between line item and orders. We haven't built that relationship yet. We will do that in the next sections, but for now, you will see Veezoo fail. It tries to figure out a way to get one to the other. It will fail. It will tell us that you cannot connect these two classes together, and then will default to sales by ship date, because ship date is still something that is within the line item class over here. So we understood that when we are presented with a new data set, we need to figure out what is an individual row in all the tables that we are importing. Then we need to think about what are business concepts. What are the things that needs to be promoted to a top-level class? Entities that users are having questions into, that I can model my business around. As an example, we created an order top-level class. Then we figured out that we can put attributes and other classes within these order top-level order class to flesh it out even more. You can also think that if new data comes in, new tables are being connected, and maybe they need to be under or with relationship to our order class. Then we also see how Veezoo fails when we have no relationship. All right, see you in the next section.